Hi friends, it's your pal Scott, and today we are going to talk about the Magic the Gathering 2020 release schedule. We're going to talk about the fourth item on the release schedule, and we're going to talk about it in context of Dungeons and Dragons. So, what is the fourth item on the release schedule for Dungeons and Dragons for Magic the Gathering? Actually, for Magic the Gathering, it is Magic the Gathering: The Hobbit. Now, this is interesting because this is really fascinating, and the reason why this is fascinating is we have this situation where um, we already have a Magic the Gathering, Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings set, right? And it came out and it was massively successful. It had the One Ring in it, which was really interesting, which actually got bought for $2 million by Post Malone. That's a story in itself. That it was hugely successful, and I saw this one firsthand. I watched this in the shops, and I saw some incredible things. I saw a woman come in the shop and was like, "You guys have this was when the Lord of the Ring cards came out. She's like, "You guys have Gandalf cards?" Right? Like, it was clear she had never played Magic the Gathering in her entire life. And actually, to their credit, the FLGS did a great job. They said, "We have collectible cards that have Gandalf on it. Now, they come in packs, and they are randomly selected. So you can buy some of these packs, and there's a good chance you'll get a Gandalf card, or we can sell you a Gandalf card right now. But it'd be a little more expensive than getting it in the pack than if you got it by random in the packs, which was incredible just listening to it, right? Because, and I think that's the thing. That's why that's why all these companies are like, "Hey, can you can you do a collaboration with us? We want our IP on a we want our IP to have a Magic the Gathering set." I actually think it's like an honor, and actually, I would bet that that Hasbro is having to pay lower and lower amounts to get these IPs to come in, because I actually think when they get a Magic the Gathering set, this attaches these IPs to outrageously successful, wealthy, highly sought after markets, right? Like, so where they and all these IPs already know how to make merch and already know how to sell products, right? So this is really interesting. I think this is absolutely fascinating. So so what does this mean that they're doing Magic the Gathering: The Hobbit in 2026? The biggest things this means is, when this happened, Hasbro was sending the Tolkien estate checks for millions of dollars. Like, I think it might have been literally every month, right? Like, we don't know for sure, but there were hundreds of millions of dollars flowing in, and this was incredibly successful. And the Tolkien estate, was very, very happy with how this worked out. And I think that's why they re-signed. And I think the big thing here is just understanding that the Magic the Gathering: The Hobbit was able to, that Magic the Gathering Hobbit, the Tolkien estate was totally ready to do this deal. And the reason why is the first time they did this, it was very, very successful with them. The other thing I think is interesting is Hasbro is in the catbird seat, man. They are doing so well. Because one of the things I think is happening is they're like Lego at this point. They can pick and choose the winners from other intellectual properties. And I think they may have even made the Tolkien estate wait, because they wanted to bring in all these other intellectual property holders that were clamoring to have a Magic the Gathering set. And what's wild is, like, and you're like, "Well, what's this got to do with D&D?" Okay, let's talk about that, right? So what happened with The Hobbit, right? Well, what happened with Lord of the Rings and D&D? In 1974, Gary Gygax put The Hobbit and put Lord of the Rings material into D&D illegally. They did not have the rights to it, and they just did it, right? And how do you know this? Because literally Hasbro wrote about the crime that TSR did in a historical like capturing. They were like, oh yeah, it was totally not legal. It was, they were like, oh, they did not have the rights, and there were problems, right from the gate. And so, like, they literally, Hasbro published a 600-page book that documented that, TSR did not have the rights and used Tolkien Estate IP, right? Then you go further from there, and they're like, and now it comes for full circle. Tolkien, and TSR fixed it. They backed off and they stopped saying The Hobbit, and then they were like, oh, they're halflings now, and made it legally distinct, right? But then, literally 50 years later, because of Magic the Gathering, not only is the Lord of the Rings canon through the Magic the Gathering D&D bridge, but Lord of the Rings is literally, Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit is quite literally a legally 100% locked in D&D canon setting with an official hardback, right? It comes from Free League. You can you could buy it from Free League in physical form. But how is it connected to D&D? How is it literally connected to D&D? Through the D&D partnered content block that you will find on D&D Beyond. And that's full circle. That's 50 years later. There's no question. It's canon by every single measure. It's literally a D&D book that you can buy it. You can buy a Lord of the Rings tabletop role-playing game from Hasbro officially, right? And you can get it in a set, and now soon you'll be able to get it in another Magic the Gathering set. So this is lock, stock, and barrel, like full-on D&D. Really incredible. I'm very excited for this set. I absolutely loved the loader set. I went pretty heavy into it, and that investment has done very well for me. I was actually I haven't sold any of them. But every time I bring out my trade binder, people are like, what? I'm like, yeah, I went pretty heavy on it, right? And I've been very, very happy with it. So, no investment advice here. Like, you'll only buy MTG if you enjoy it. Don't buy it for an investment. If you have any interest in that kind of thing, there are other channels. So, but yeah. So every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider like and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.